What's up, beautiful people? This is Jon Gray of Ghetto Gastro in the building. I like to think of myself as a social sculptor, entrepreneur, and my most important title is a dishwasher, and I recently got promoted to underwater ceramic technician, and sometimes we touch porcelain and silverware too, when we get lucky.
From David Zwirner, this is Dialogues, a podcast about artists and the way they think.
The reason why Ghetto Gastro works for someone like me is because I have so many varied interests, and I just needed the project that all of my interests could live under, right? So when you think about art, design, socio-political matters, Black power, community matters, like these things all exist within the realm of Ghetto Gastro.
I'm Helen Molesworth, your host for this season. Every episode features a conversation with artists, curators, writers, designers, philosophers, filmmakers, and musicians about what it means to make things today. Hey everyone, it's Helen. In this episode, I'm speaking with Jon Gray, a co-founding member of the culinary collective Ghetto Gastro. I first encountered Jon slinging food at a Michel Lamé opening in Los Angeles. What can I say? I was immediately hooked. Ghetto Gastro has carved new paths in food, design, community building, and most recently, books, with the debut last fall of the cookbook come manifesto, Black Power Kitchen. Jon Gray himself embodies the true ethos of an artist, redrawing the lines around genres and disciplines to expand what food can do for the culture. And we're both kids from the boroughs. Here we go.
Helen, what's up?
Oh, Jon, I'm so happy to see you, man. You're a sight for sore eyes.
It's a long way from that Heathrow airport en route to Venice from LA.
It's true. The last time I saw you, we were both in that weird space-time travel continuum where time is very elastic. And I remember the first time I met you, I didn't know anything about Ghetto Gastro. I didn't know about you guys and your project, but I had been, peripherally involved with an exhibition that Michel Lamé had done. And she had insisted that you guys be the cooks for the event. And I was like, yeah, sure. Whatever. That's what the artist wants. That's what the artist gets. And at the time, I can't front. I thought it was a little crazy. I was like, we're in LA. Like, there's some of the best cooks in the world live in this city. Like but there you guys were. And I love kitchen work. I love it. And you guys were putting out bread, man. It was an epic spread. And I know from being in and around kitchens, I knew the amount of labor that was involved in that spread. But the vibe in the kitchen was not like any other kitchen vibe. It wasn't the like, oh shit, service is starting now. These people are in the room, like hustle, hustle, hustle. It was just this kind of like, here we go. Party's about to start. This food's going to be amazing. Like your whole jam. And I remember talking to you through the transom window, the service window, just being like, who are you guys? This is incredible. So
No, that was a good time. And shout out to Michelle. I was just with her at the Chateau talking about our next project, which we'll be doing some stuff in a couple of months. But yeah, I think with us and we, like us and Michelle at that time, we were like frickin' frack. We were doing things in Paris, London. We did the thing in LA, and it was just about the energy because I don't know if you knew, but in addition to the food, like we also did the DJ. Like, so it was like, really the whole vibe, and invited a bunch of people. So like just being able to have those worlds merge, like for us, we're really storytellers, and food is the medium that we choose to use it. And like you said, yeah, with us, it's probably like a little bit, it's very serious, and we're like serious about delivering and putting things out on time. But that particular evening, like that, since kitchen work, that wasn't a commercial kitchen. It's a very good kitchen for an office space, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we were at the Chrome Hearts warehouse, but it's pretty much a home kitchen in a big warehouse with like eight burners instead of. But in those type of things, oven space is the most important.
Right.
you're not using gas to cook often. So for us, it's like we just wanted to turn out whenever we're working with Michelle. Also met Miriam Ben Salah, another great friend in the art world who has like opened up portals for me in worlds and things. But yeah, like we just give it up we show up how we show up, and we have fun. It's like we don't it's not like a client, it's not like a service relationship. It's like, we're all just doing this together. Let's have a good time,
So how did you get to it, Jon? Like, why did you end up in food? Because you could do anything. You could tell any kind of story you want in any format. I'm convinced of that about you. You have the polymath is written all over you. So why food?
I'll tell you, I have no choice. I had no choice but to end up where I ended up. And it starts where you started, with a decision. I had the McDonald's crossroads, right? I was 14 or 15. I got my working papers. I lived by a mall called Bay Plaza. And I was like, all right, I want to get a job. I remember asking my grandmother, who lived down the hall from me, for some money. She said no, which was not normal. Went to my mother, asked her for a couple dollars, something like maybe $2, $3, like for just some snacks or whatever, slice of pizza. And she said, no, you got to earn money. And at the time I wasn't doing great in school. I was got kicked out of Catholic school. So I wasn't doing anything to I wasn't entitled to their money. Like they were giving me, food, clothing, shelter. If I wanted a beef patty with cheese when my mom had dinner, because she was vegan at the time, so I wasn't really jacking that raw vegan stuff. I was like, you sprouting beans and shit, like what's going on? So long story short, I'm like, I bet I'm gonna get some money then. I had applied to all of the job, all of the like Applebee's, Foot Locker, every spot in Bay Plaza I applied to, and they hit me with like the DMV thing. It's like, and you're like, why do I need ID to get ID? Like if I had ID, I wouldn't need ID. They're like, you need experience. I'm like, I'm here to gain that experience. What's up? I'm ready to work. And I can't, because I had the Catholic school decorum, even though I came through with the khakis, pressed shirt. I know how to speak properly and whatnot, quote unquote properly. They were like, I got denied. And I'm like, damn, nobody's going to let me eat. And the one place that would hire me was a McDonald's one. And I was like, yo, I'm not trying to come home smelling like those fries. I'm not. And I just know how rude people are to the workers at McDonald's, in the Bronx. I'm like, nah. And then I chose to start selling weed. Ended up going one summer to my brother's crib up in Massachusetts. He was hustling a mile a minute. And I was inspired. I knew my basketball, my athletic career wasn't going anywhere because I got kicked out of the school that had the great basketball program. I was now in my zone school, which was Truman High School, had happened to be the worst school in the city at the time. So it was crazy. It was just a crazy time. 2001, 9/11 happened. It was either a week before or after 9/11 happened. A friend of mine got shot in the face right next to me.
Over
some shit I did. He lived, but so the world was just kind of collapsing around me, and I decided yo, I'm in this, I'm gonna get this paper. And also in public school, you gotta be fresh. In Catholic school, you wearing a uniform. You just get the Wallabies. Yeah. You keep a fresh pair of Wallabies, maybe some Timberlands or some Eastland. But in public school, you need a new fit every day.
I never even thought about that.
And this is the urban environment. So the fits is that's social capital when it comes to your love life, coming of age, hormones, all of that. You got to get fresh, So I decided to start selling weed. I did good in that. And I'm gonna fast forward. So from 15 to 20, I became a very successful drug dealer, made a lot of money. I have a whole nother legend attached to my name before the whole era of Jon Gray and the arts and in this world. I'm a street legend first, right? Because I was young and I hit the heights that were abnormal for someone of my age. Caught a case, was able to, that case kind of pushed me into a direction because I planned on retiring from the streets before I caught that case. And I was creative, and I was like, all right, what's the thing that a creative person does? I was like, oh, you start a clothing line, right? T-shirts, streetwear, the streetwear thing was a thing. So I started that. When I caught my case, I was like, oh shit, I was facing a lot of time. I was facing 10 to life, which is a crazy, idea when you're thinking about just narcotics.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to FIT, and this is before YouTube tutorials and you can look things up like online. So I spent like $1,200 on these books from a bookstore called Fashion Decks, which was across the street from FIT, took night courses there, like had access to the library, went deep into fashion. But the reason I went to fashion was I also saw a financial upside. Like it wasn't like I grew up thinking about garments. I didn't even like shopping. Like I don't like the retail experience. I just like want to go in, go out. Like when I was with my mother, I like objects and I like making things. And I like the idea of taking an idea that exists in your brain and it becoming something that other people can experience, whether it's something they see, taste, feel. And I did that that's 2008. I started like 2007 to 2010, 11. Recession hit, like the business wasn't working. Like we had some small successes. We were in Bergdorf, Jeffries, American Rag in LA, shout out to your turf. But it just wasn't working financially. And it was a lot of stops and starts. People wanted to invest in 07, but since I had my little bit of paper, I declined the investment. Like, let's build up the value of the equity and then take on partnership. But then in 2008, after the crash, those people had lost 30% of their wealth and retail was suffering. So those checks didn't exist and things just weren't happening. So I just hit a depression. Like I was thinking like, damn, because so much of my life was defined. I defined my worthiness by my financial security, my financial health. Like that had become my identifying thing, right? And I'm like, damn, like I didn't have an adolescence. I really don't know what I like. I had an existential crisis and I'm like, let me just do some digging and try to think about what brings me joy. Or I don't even know what I was good at. Like I know I could sell, right? I know I could put great people together in a room to cultivate and create an idea, but I didn't really know the root of what I liked. And then I thought about, oh shit, it's food. Food is that thing for me. When I think about the moments of joy, of convening, communion, where I even felt my first bit of confidence, it was around food. Like I used to I was responsible for ordering the food for the family and friends at like the age of 6 or 7. And that just affirmed me, which is like probably one of the reasons why I feel like I could do anything I put my mind to, because I was always given like that permission to be great or to make decisions, or that I was told that I was amazing and I was a king as a kid growing up. But a lot of that happened because of food, because or around food. So because I'm not a cook and I didn't really want to go to culinary school, I was like, how do we turn this to reality? And my buddy Les and my partner, I'm in Ghetto Gastro. We grew up on the same block. He was a street dude like me, but happened to go to culinary school. And his little brother, Chad, they're 2 years apart. Chad was 2 years older than me. Chad was someone I looked up to. Like when I first moved to the neighborhood, my grandmother was Chad's 4th grade teacher. Chad took me under his wing, made sure I was good, and like when I played ball, like he used to commentate at the tournaments and he called me Baby Jordan. So another person that gave me confidence and affirmed my stature or just affirmed me as a human in space. Like coming of age in the 90s in the Bronx isn't like an easy thing. It's not an easy life. But yeah, they came full circle, and I always thought I have to make $1 billion doing something else, and then okay, I could have a restaurant as a passion project. But it turns out food being a project, food in the pursuit, and sharing the dialogue and having these conversations with food was a medium that opened everything up.
That's amazing. So did you ever go then to culinary school? Do you have kitchen chops? So this all, you're able to create this world around you then?
I'm the architect. I put the pieces together, but I do have culinary chops. It's for like a mere mortal, but I look at my skills as somebody that like goes to the park and gets a gym running, or like plays a little bit of pickup basketball. Whereas like Pierre and Lester, that's like LeBron, that's Steph. Like these cats, like I could pick up the rock and do my thing, but they've put in the work for 15 years to be able to really get it done,
That's
but
amazing.
I do think I have top 5 palates on the planet when it comes to tasting food and like
you're a good taster.
When it comes to the experience I've had and just diversity of flavors and like how long I've been eating and trying things, I think my palate is really top tier.
How did you end up having this connection to the art and fashion world, the culture world? Like, how did that migration happen for you?
I think the secret with me is that, and the reason why Ghetto Gastro works for someone like me is because I have so many varied interests, and I just needed the project that all of my interests could live under, right? So when you think about art, design, socio-political matters, Black power, community matters, like these things all exist within the realm of Ghetto Gastro. And it just started by where the friendships lie. Like being in the design world, I overlapped with a lot of the art world. So, and then even beyond that, like growing up, like I always grew up. I didn't realize this until probably I had an interview like a couple months or maybe a year. And I'm like, damn, I did grow up with Black art in the house. Like, even if it was 125th Street, like I remember this portrait that my grandmother had with like Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela, and Martin, like in this, like coming through the fire. But it was like a beautiful work. And so I always grew up with this imagery. But then my mother, she was wise in how she socialized me. Like, yeah, so I grew up, we were living in public housing, which I also didn't know we lived in public housing prior to like 2-3 years ago. But I went to 92nd Street Y for after school, right? You know, I went there for summer camp. So I didn't really grow up having this inferiority complex about or other, or because I was other, like feeling less or what have you. I always had like a really good sense of confidence in that area. But I didn't think about this until recently. But as an adult, I kind of entered the art space through design. A friend of mine, Todd Merrill, I was in Puerto Rico on business. I remember this was like 2008. And my friend Todd Merrill was like, yo, you in Puerto Rico, come stop in Miami. I have a booth at Design Miami. I'm like, Design Miami? What the fuck is that? He's like, oh, nah, it's like this Art Basel thing. And all of these names mean nothing to me. I'm like, Art Basel? Like, what are you talking about right now? Like, why? Right. He's like, nah, come. And I, like me being who I am, loving an adventure, I went and I was like, oh, all right. And so I said I had no choice, but another reason, I probably shouldn't admit this, but anger also got me to where I'm going. Like, anger. How so? I remember going to the 30 American show, and the reason I got invited at the Rubel, and the reason I got invited to the 30 American show was because Todd, his best friend from childhood, was dating the CEO of Puma at the time. Puma sponsored the exhibition. So we went like with the VIP, like before it opened to the public. And I was amazed, like seeing all of this Black artwork, but then I was like the only Black person in the room that wasn't an artist. Right. So I'm like, what is this? The gaze bothered me. And coming from like a revolutionary household, and I'm like, this is made by us, but it doesn't feel like it belongs to us. Like the ownership in the actual artifact, the original artifact, but also the world of art. Because Art Basel in that year, I could probably count on my hands and feet the amount of Black and brown people I saw in the spaces, whether it was at the Vanity Fair party, because, you know, I was still doing my thing in fashion, so I was going to be at the Vanity Fair joint getting it in. But I was just like at the Raleigh hotels, like in the spaces that were the spaces to be, I just didn't see us represented. So I was like, oh, we're going to have to change this. This is the area I have to infiltrate. And the same thing happened to me in fashion. Like I wasn't a downtown kid growing up, but my cousin Jay Murda and Nemo, shout out to Nemo Labrizzi, and Nemo also, his pops was an art consultant, art dealer. So periphery, like the knowledge, the gems they dropped probably seeped into my head subconsciously. I wasn't like studying it at the time, but I felt like that when I went to La Esquina the first time. I'm like, oh, this is a new world. I need to come make this my domain and figure it out. And then being able to have leeway and leverage at La Esquina opened up a lot of doors for the fashion, because PR people needed tables. And I was the person that was able to get them into La Esquina when nobody could get them in. So these type of things.
So it's a little counterintuitive. So I want to ask you a follow-up on it. We've all had the encounter, and obviously people of color have this encounter more often than white people do. And I feel lucky I'm gay. So I do the count too. Like I'm looking around, like how many gay ladies are in this room? Like I've been playing that game with myself since I was 13, right? Wanting to figure out whether or not there was room for me, I could belong in that space. But a lot of people, when they encounter a room where there are not a lot of other people like them, they decide the room is not for them and they leave. You walked into a room where you didn't encounter a lot of people like you, and that's not your response. Your response is to be like, I think I'm going to come back here tomorrow and like bring more people. Like, you know what
exactly.
I mean? So like,
because I'm like, my people need to see this.
Right. So what is it? Why? Like, why is that your response to the room?
Shit, that's a good question. I think it's curiosity, and also, like I said, the levels of confidence that were just instilled in me, and also from being successful in the streets. It's the stakes are always were way high in that atmosphere. Like every day I walked out of the house, I was leaving the house with a 25 to life sentence on me, right?
Wow.
You also dealing with the element of the streets. People might want to rob you, kill you, hurt you. You got the police after, right. You got enemies after, you got to watch out for customers. They might be snitching. It's like all of these things. Like, so everything now in my life, it just feels it's like the stakes are high, but it's also not as high as facing life in jail or getting my head blown. So anything compared to that is pretty low. But yeah, for me, I walk in those rooms and I'll be like, yo, I need to bring that. I was always like, even I got to bring the homies too. Like this is something that we need to see. Like we need to, like, things are happening that we are unaware of. And when I say we, I'm just like my direct circle, right? Because often I might be the discover, like the person to be like, oh, this is what's going on here. All right, bet we need to, like, something needs to, I was like, something needs to change about this room. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of always, and I guess I like challenges. Like I entered the food game saying that we're not caterers, but we do food at events, and everybody's like, how's that? You don't have a restaurant, you don't cater. What do you do? Like it's the road less traveled, which is often a difficult road. Same thing with fashion. I was doing organic cotton, Japanese Kuroki denim made in New York with Italian trim. The jeans were way too expensive, but now I look at my younger brothers and sisters that are in the space doing their thing, making it pop. Like we're kind of helping define what quote unquote luxury elite fashion is, based on some 100%. Of these ideas. So the first is not the easiest, but it's necessary.
I wonder if we can talk about that, not the easiest, because if there's one thing that's really true about food service, that it is hard work.
So hard.
You stand all day, and like when everybody else is drunk and having a good time, it's time to clean the dishes, man. Like
you got to pack up, you got to clean, you got to make sure everything.
You got to leave the space cleaner than when you found it. You have to clean it before you cook in it. You know what I mean? Like it's a kind of constant labor, and
it's hard as hell when you have your own space. When you add an element of travel and like working in different zones with different people, different purveyors, like other people's spaces, like where you don't know the nuances of what's working, what's not working. It's a whole other element. Yeah, I don't know why I like suffering, but I guess I'm drawn to it, I can't think of an easy thing I've done in life.
Right. Because the work ethic, I mean, I used to, when I worked in museums, I watched as people's resumes got I worked in museums for 20 years. And in the beginning, you'd see a resume for a young person and it'd have a lot of different kinds of jobs on it. But then at around 10 years in, and things started to get super professionalized in the museum world, nobody would put their actual job on a resume. They'd only put like their internship or the classes they took. And I would be looking at these resumes, and finally I just started asking people, I'm like, have you ever done any restaurant work? Like, have you ever waited tables? And if someone said to me, oh yeah, like I was a line cook or I waited tables at a diner, I would be like, you're hired. Like, because it meant I knew they knew how to work. I knew they knew how to do more than one thing at the same time. I knew they understood that shit could get hairy, but that like you had to keep moving.
You got to get through it. You got to get through it.
You know, like you could be in the weeds, but like that doesn't mean that the service is done. You know, you got to keep going.
You can't quit. It doesn't stop. You got to push. Yeah.
Right. But I love work. I know that I'm kind of hardwired to work. And I'm curious if you have that too. Like, do you love just the ethic of that kind of work?
It's I'm gonna give you a quote from a movie, Paid in Full. It was about these legendary kind of young like drug dealers in Harlem. It's based on AZ, Rich Porter, and Alpo. But the character in the game's name was Mitch, and he was talking to AZ when they were just talking about leaving the game. He's like, man, I just love the hustle. He's like, I feel like Larry Bird or Magic Johnson or one of them cats. It takes place in the 80s. Right. He's like, yeah, when I leave the game, do you think the fans still gonna love me? I just love the hustle. He's like, I just sold it all. I've been working since a kid. Like, right. I've always, like, whether it was doing yard work for my aunt, you know, I had little scams that we was running as a kid, like collecting donations, you know what I'm saying? So I've always loved the hustle. And I think the way my brain is wired, even if I'm trying to do something leisurely, right? If I'm like on the beach in Oaxaca or whatever, I'm looking at the patterns at the mountains. I'm looking at the arrangement of the mountains, or I'm looking at the architecture like at Casa Wabi and thinking, oh, how can this apply to something like this residency vibe? So the brain is always ideating around something to do, whether it's a for-profit venture or if it's just a project. I think I'm definitely project orientated, you know?
Right. I have one more question for you. I'll give you, like, you just gave me that quote from Paid in Full. One of my favorite quotes is from the Velvet Underground. And apparently the first time they sing this song is at the factory, and Lou Reed is on stage with the guitar, and he says, some people like to go out dancing, but other people like us have to work. So like that moment where the band, I know.
Damn, that makes so sense that makes so much sense because I don't dance much. I've seen you dancing. You have fun in parties.
I have a fun time at a party.
You cut a rug, you know?
I do. But, Thank you. That might be that's the biggest compliment I've gotten all year, and I'm going to cherish it.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, so you're in a field where you're working when other people are having a good time.
Yeah, I think I find it's always a lot of angst for me. I have a lot of anxiety. So when people are like, oh, why you not eating? Why you not having a good time? I'm like, right. You here to have a good time. I'm here to work, you know? I got to make sure you having a good time is my work. And also, even when we extend beyond the experiential, right, as we've evolved to become talent or to curate shows I'm an artist in residence at the Met right now. So like the work, the definition of the work has expanded, but it always has an underlying thesis of nourishment, right?
Right.
Like nourishment is always the goal. So whether it's food for thought or actual food, you know, that's kind of the vibe. And we got our cookbook dropping this for Black Power Kitchen, and it's a whole bunch of food in there from great visual art. You know, a lot of our friends are in there. Like when you see it, I think you'll have an appreciation from the visual artworks, the recipes, you know, recipes for success, like interviews with like the Thelmas, the Theastas, the Kimberly Drews, you know. So just big vibes in there, just to bring them. Like I said, it's an amalgam of all the shit we really fuck with. We like.
Right. So do you ever just dance at the party?
I gotta be on a lot. I gotta be on like some mushrooms to let that freedom tap in, where I'm less self-conscious, and I probably got to be in another country to start dancing where I don't know nobody. Like, you know, like Fat Joe say, gangsters don't dance, they just pull up their pants and lean back. That got to be how the interview ends right there.
That's so great. Oh, Jon, I'm so happy that you came on and that we got to chat. I just really appreciate it. And I love what you guys do. I can't wait till the cookbook comes out. That's so great.
Helen, aka Lady Molesworth, thanks for having me on the podcast to chop it up, to talk shit, swallow spit, and to catch a vibe.
Okay, you take good care of yourself, okay, baby?
All right, Helen.
Dialogues is produced by David Zwerner. If you like this episode, please follow, rate, and review us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. It really does help the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you join us here next time.